Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to my channel. Um, Disclaimer before I start, if you don't like a lot of yapping in videos, then maybe this isn't the video for you, because I'm going to be talking about a lot of these plants that you guys have seen before if you've been following, and kind of give you an update on how they're doing or what I'm planning on doing soon. So yeah, let's jump right in. All right, where do we start? Let's start with this one in front of me. I don't know if you guys remember, but this is some type of an aloe hybrid that I put into water culture. I'll show you the roots. The roots are very happy. And it's been in water for a long time. I don't even remember how long it's been, but it has definitely been a while. Doing fine. I haven't even been giving this any fertilizer. A lot of new root growth I see. Um, I don't know if I'm even going to keep it in water culture. It's doing fine. I mean, you could see I could keep it in water culture, but um, I don't know. I'm getting kind of bored of it in water culture. So um, I might move it to something else, whether it's acrylic or maybe semi-hydro, leca, or lava rock, something like that. Actually, you know what? Why don't you guys tell me what you want me to do? Tell me what you want me to do with Miss Aloe here, okay? Um, if you want me to keep it in water culture, I will. If you want me to move it to semi-hydro, I will. The only thing I won't do is put it in soil, because that would increase the risk of it rotting. Let's just throw that out there. Let's just call it what it is. So semi-hydro, keep in water culture. I don't even think I want to do acrylic yarn. So one of those two things. How about that? Either keep it in water culture, or move it to something semi-hydro. Sound good? All right, cool. Doing great though. Never a problem in water. And yes, it's an aloe that's been in water for a long time. You could tell by these roots. I mean, I already showed you, but these roots are pretty hefty. It's not like they are brand new water roots. They have been in water for a long time. So yeah, just let me know what you think. Doing fine. So if you guys do decide to keep it, that you want me to keep it in water, it will be fine. As long as I keep the water clean, and I could even start fertilizing, even though they're not huge feeders. I will do it because you want me to. See what I do for you? All right, that's that one. Let's go to some older things that you haven't seen in a while. This one just really started taking off. This is one of my Dischidias. This is Dischidia one stripe, one line, something like that. This was, I think it's a cultivar of the Ovada. So you get a little close so you can see. It's doing great. This is an acrylic, and I just keep the acrylic yarn damp, and it seems to do fine. I have been feeding this along with my other Dischidias some of the orchid fertilizer, and that might be why it has kind of exploded a little bit with growth. And there are aerial roots, if you can see against my black shirt, aerial roots and everything. I'm just waiting for like flowers now, because this one has not bloomed for me. So that would be nice. Do you hear me? So yeah, doing fine. I have this under lights. It's not under natural light. It's under LEDs, and it seems to do fine. It actually reaches for the light. So I'm not going to move this from where it is, but I will continue to feed it and keep it in its nice little damp environment. And that's it. So really, if you guys don't have any Dischidias, I definitely recommend getting some, because some of them, not all of them, I've had some issues with some Dischidias. Like, some of them are just not as easy as you would like. But the ones that I have now are the ones I've had for a while, and they do just great. So they don't even really need bright light. You know, ambient light should be fine. Bright indirect light, but they're not. It's not like they need full sun. They will start to sun stress if you do give them full sun, and they'll start to turn like reddish a little bit. And if you like that look, then go for it. But just be careful that you don't burn the leaves. Um, Otherwise, doing just fine. Ta-da! It's great. Okay, moving on. Another Dischidia This is my million hearts, the Dischidia ruscifolia. This is the variegated million hearts, and it is doing great. It grew really fast for a while, then it kind of slowed down and took a break. Now it's growing again. Here's a new growth that you can see right there that has grown out. It's my black shirt. Um, Again, this one gets treated exactly the same. It sits right next to the one stripe. So it gets bright LED light, and I keep the acrylic yarn. This is also an acrylic. I keep the acrylic yarn damp. Um, Actually, you know what? I know why it stopped growing for a period of time, because I forgot to water it. I have a problem with that sometimes. Can you tell? No, but yeah. So the acrylic yarn was dry. It was like almost bone dry. So a couple of leaves fell off because it was starting to reabsorb the moisture from the leaves, but I caught it in time, and now I've got new growth. But look at this. Some of the leaves are like completely white. Can you see right there? They're like completely creamy white. I love that. That's cool. As long as the whole thing doesn't go white, because then I have to cut that piece off because it's probably not going to survive. Because they need chlorophyll to live. Semantics. Anyway, this is my million hearts Dischidia in acrylic yarn. Doing great. And I don't really have to go over the care tips because it's exactly the same as the one stripe. So yeah, so there you have it. Let's see, what else have you not seen in a while? Making a quick cameo. This is the Aglaonema that you guys wanted me to keep in water culture. At least the majority of you guys wanted me to keep in water or put into water because it was in a little 2-inch pot. Doing just fine. 2 new leaves. I pulled off some old yellowing leaves, and that usually happens. Um, a lot of times that happens when a plant has too much water, like when it's in soil. So transferring this into water culture, I was expecting something like that because all of a sudden it's in nothing but water. So it shed 2 of the leaves, totally fine, because now um, it's gotten its footing. It's gotten its rooting. It doesn't sound right. Anyway, now it's doing better, and I don't expect any more leaves to yellow up and fall off. And yeah, like I said, 2 new leaves out of the center, and looking forward to more. I think now that this is adjusted and acclimated to water culture, I can I can feed this. I can give this some nutrients. So I'm probably going to give it the NutriCoat, and yeah, call it a day. So this will continue to be in updates because I want you guys to see how long I'm keeping it in the water culture, because it's going to be, I can keep this forever really, as long as I keep it clean. So yeah, there you have it. Care about this. What I've been doing as far as care for this plant is it's in a north facing window. It doesn't get a lot of light. Aglaonema typically don't need a lot of light, as you guys probably already know. So it doesn't get any direct sunlight, doesn't get any really much bright light at all, because it's a north window and it's not right up against the window. It is a little bit away. So there you have it. Beautiful Aglaonema that you guys have been part of deciding its care. All right, next up, let's go to Peperomia Hope. Now, this Peperomia Hope, I had 2 of them. They were in little, can you see it? Yes. They were in little 2-inch pots. And one of them I put into semi-hydro with leca. The other one I put, in which is this one, into acrylic yarn. This is the one that survived. The one that was in semi-hydro did not. Actually, I don't even know if it was leca or lava rock. It was one or the other. But either way, it did not do well. It just started to rot, and I got really sad. But I was happy that this one survived, and it not only survived, it started growing like a little nutso. So you can see, I think I showed this in a recent video. You can see it's doing very well. This is not getting any direct light. It's getting very ambient light. It's how far away is it? It's about 4 feet away from the north facing window that's behind me. So yeah, it's really not getting much light, and that's probably why it's reaching for the light. But it still looks good. I mean, yeah, obviously there's a lot of space between the nodes. The internodal spacing is a little bit drastic, kind of like it's reaching for the light, but I don't mind. I really don't mind. Yeah. So this one is starting to get some orchid fertilizer. I believe this is an epiphyte as well, so the orchid fertilizer works well for epiphytes in general, in my experience. And Peperomia Hope is doing good. I just keep the acrylic yarn damp at all times. Sometimes I'll fill it up all the way up and then I'll flush it out. That's how I just make sure that the acrylic yarn is clean and the plant will be healthy and happy. So there you have it. Peperomia Hope, doing great. All righty. All right, might as well bring up this little bromeliad. I've shown this a few times. I will continue to show you updates because this one was so cool. I got this plant at a pet store, and it was in one of those. It was in like the in the reptile area, I guess. It's in one of those tubes that have little plants with a cap on top, and it was just a green with white striped plant with a little what was it? It's like a little runner, I guess, like a little stem coming out of the side. So I'm like, that's a little pup. That's about to happen. Well, look at the pup now. The pup is really beautiful and it is all red. There isn't much variegation on this pup. There's just one. So far, I can only find, well, 2 leaves really that have variegation. Nothing like the mother. You can see, let me see if I can get this close enough so you guys can see. I'm holding the mic because I'm on stage. Kidding, I'm not. So, you know that. So yeah, the mom has a lot of variegation. The pup, not so much. I don't care. I really don't mind. I just love the fact that this pup grew as fast as it did, and um, and I love that it totally acclimated to acrylic yarn because that's what it's in, and it grew fast in acrylic yarn. So take that, uh, take that, moss. Yeah. So acrylic yarn, Nereogelia. I'm not sure what type this is. It looks like some type of a variegated, what is it called? Cherry bomb? Something like that. Yeah, I just think these are really cool. I love bromeliads. They're fantastic. Anyway, moving along. All right. I need my glasses for this so I can see what I'm looking at. All right. Now, this was the sport of the Purple Heart plant. If this was the variegated Purple Heart, which is the pink stripe, this was a sport of only pink leaves. So I took it out. I said, let's see if this will survive, because a lot of times when you isolate a completely variegated white or yellow cream sport or cutting, it doesn't usually survive. This one did survive. This one is surviving. It even has a new growth that popped out of the lava rock. You can see it right there. And it's interesting because it almost, it must have known that there's not enough chlorophyll in here and it needed to kind of make a change so it can survive. So the leaves started to turn more green than they were. Not as green as a normal Purple Heart, let's say, but it definitely started to change a little bit, which is fine. I wanted to see what happened. This is an experiment to see if I can isolate it, and if it won't isolate, what will happen to it. And now I can see it's doing what it can to survive. It's getting more chlorophyll in its leaves to be able to survive, even though the little baby that came out is not showing as much chlorophyll. But the little baby seems to be getting more light. See this one right here? It's very pink. It's like pink and olive right there. And this leaf was the first leaf, but it wasn't getting a lot of light at the time. But I wanted to show you the difference, because I can imagine people are looking at this saying, that just looks like a regular Purple Heart that hasn't been getting a lot of light. But it has been getting light, and it's been right next to this Purple Heart. And you can see this is a normal Purple Heart plant, right? Look at how dark those leaves are. Those are in the same place as the experiment is. So you can see they're very, very purple. And the leaves that are not getting a lot of light are like an olive color, like this one right here, right? So let me see if I can put these together. You can see the difference. You can see there is a difference. This one is much lighter. It's almost got yellow in it. The green almost has yellow in it. You can see that it's just a lot lighter than the green leaves that are not experiencing a lot of sunlight. Okay. Now the parts that are very purple. The parts that are here are very pink. So, sorry, I took the mic away. You probably couldn't hear what I was saying. So it's just interesting. I don't know what's going to happen with this. I'm going to continue to grow this as its own and see if I can. I'm going to put this in like direct sun, because this gets like afternoon sun, but not intense direct sun. It gets direct light. Don't get me wrong, but it isn't the strongest like at noon to 3. So so that's why the whole plant isn't purple, only the parts that are really getting hit by the light more. So even though this whole plant gets hit by light at some point during the day, you can see that the other leaves that are not getting as much are still kind of olive colored. So if I put this plant in direct sun, like really intense direct sun, I want to see if the whole thing turns pink. So I'm going to do that. Okay. Next update, we'll see how that looks. All right. So that is the um, Secretia. No, they don't call them Secretia anymore. Tradescantia pallida. This is the purple heart, and this is the sport from the pink stripe. Okay. Last up for this video is my other experiment. This grows so fast. So I know I recently did a video of this, but just to recap what I did so everyone kind of understands what they're looking at if you haven't seen the other video. This is another type of Tradescantia. This is a cross between, I think, Silimontana, Tradescantia Silimontana, and Pallida. So it's a cross between the cobweb Tradescantia that's like got the white hair and the purple heart. So it has elements of both, right? This was growing crazy. It looked like an octopus and it was growing all over the place. So I decided to put all the stems together and tie them up with little twist ties to make like a trunk. And then the top will look like a tree. Now, I had so many suckers, so many little babies that were growing out of the base and a little bit up on the stem. There were a lot, and I'm propagating those. I have a million now, but I cut them off because I wanted to keep this as a kind of like a topiary or like a standard of this. Let me get close so you can see. So you can see, even though I recently tied up, it had grown so much that I brought these stems up here close together and tied them up, and there is still a lot of growth that I could have tied up even higher, but I said, no, let me just let this grow now. I also cut off the babies. That doesn't sound right. I cut the new growths that were coming out of out of the base, and so I'm going to let this grow a little more, and I'll see if I make it even taller, because I could make it taller, or I could just let this grow out and it would kind of look almost like a weeping willow or something. Not a weeping willow, but like a weeping tree. We'll see. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but I just think this is so much fun because it looks so different than it did when it was just kind of sprawling everywhere, which I don't mind. I like when plants do that. But again, I wanted to see if this was possible. And you know what? So far, so good. So this plant is looking really interesting. And yeah, if this were to get full sun, this would also turn purple like the purple heart, probably because it's in its lineage. The genetics are similar. So this one has not been in direct sun. You can see there's more green than purple, even though the underside of the leaves are purple. If you can see that. The top of the leaves are more green with the whitish fur. So this is not right next to these guys, but it's away from the same window, but it's a little further away. It's about maybe 3 to 4 feet away, and hence the no direct sunlight to make it purple. But also, I don't have it in direct sun because I've noticed that these plants in particular, actually, all of these Pallida or Pallida hybrids, Tradescantia pallidas, they grow faster when they're not in direct sun, in my experience, almost like they're growing because they want to reach the light. And if I want this to grow quickly so I can continue to, work on this experiment, I'm not going to put it in direct sun because I want it to grow quickly. Now, the minute I put them into sun, they kind of just slow down. I don't know. It's weird. They kind of, I don't want to say they stop growing, but they kind of slow down. And then it would take forever for this to look like anything. So I keep it away from the light a little bit, not too much, but it's not in direct sunlight. Let's put it that way. This way I can continue with this experiment, continue having it grow quickly. And And yeah, this has slow release fertilizer, but it's not Nutricoat, it's Osmocote I have put in here. And I think that the very bottom is the original soil it came in. And then I did some top dressing of lava rock. And I don't know if and when I'm even going to repot this because it doesn't seem to act like it needs it. It almost loves being root bound, pot bound, whatever you want to call it. And it's been growing like nuts. And if you would have seen, actually, in an earlier video, if I think I showed this with the babies that were growing, the pups that were growing at the bottom. So you can see, I wish I would have shown you yesterday when I cut off the babies and said, you know what, I should do a video. Because there were a lot, a lot of growths coming out of here. But I just think this is really cool looking. I can't wait for it to get bushier at the top. One thing that I did notice about Tradescantia, not 100% of the time and not all Tradescantia, but in my experiences, when I've cut the tips, like let's say I do tip cutting so that I can, propagate, it doesn't sprout multiple new growths from the same vine or the same stem. It only grows one to take over as the dominant growth point in that stem. So it's kind of interesting. Normally with other plants, you cut them and they start sprouting in different places. These, in my experience, haven't. They just kind of sprout one new place and continue growing that one new growth point. Interesting, right? I don't know why that is. But anyway, that's all I got for you in this video. Yeah, don't forget to tell me what you want me to do with the aloe that's in water culture. Keep it in water culture, move to semi-hydro. Or if you have something unconventional or unique that you want me to do with this, put that in your comment and I'll think about it. Because if I don't think it's going to cause harm to the plant, maybe I'll do it. Again, not interested in really putting this in soil because, first of all, I'm not a huge fan of soil, especially for succulents. But I also don't want to sacrifice it for for rotting. But yeah, let me know what you think. Leave a comment. Let me know. And don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell if you want to be notified. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks, guys.